Let's review a crochet pattern for a coffee koozie. We're going to use Tunisian simple stitches to make the koozie. We'll work in short rows, and we'll start by crocheting a foundation chain of 10 stitches. We'll then work a row of the Tunisian Crochet standard foundation row, and then we will repeat rows of Tunisian simple stitches until our work measures the circumference of our cup that we want to cover. To follow along, you can gather the material shown on the screen. We'll use number 4 medium weight yarn, a 5mm crochet hook. You can use a standard crochet hook or a Tunisian crochet hook. In optional materials, you can grab some scissors, some stitch markers, and a yarn needle. We'll begin the pattern with a slip knot, then chaining 10. We'll then work a Tunisian crochet standard foundation row, starting with the forward pass. We'll rotate our chains so we can see the bumps along the chain, insert our hook into the second chain from the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. We'll then repeat the following 3 steps until we have 10 loops on our hook. Insert our hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. Once we have 10 loops on our hook, we'll work the return pass of the Tunisian crochet standard foundation row by yarning over, pulling through 1 loop, and then repeating the following 2 steps until we have 1 loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Once we have a foundation row, we are going to crochet rows of Tunisian simple stitches until our work meets the required length. For the forward pass of the Tunisian simple stitch, we are going to repeat the following 3 steps until we have 9 loops on our hook. Insert our hook behind the next vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. The 3 steps are: insert your hook behind the next vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. We'll work the last stitch of our forward pass a little differently to create a nice edge. We are going to insert our hook behind the front and back vertical bars of our final stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. With 10 loops on our hook, we will work the return pass of the Tunisian simple stitch, same as the foundation row. We'll yarn over, pull through 1 loop, then continue to yarn over, pull through 2 loops until 1 loop remains on our hook. And you'll repeat the row of Tunisian simple stitch until your work measures the required length. We'll bind off once our work measures our required length. To bind off, we'll work down the row, repeating the following 3 steps. Insert our hook behind the next vertical bar, yarn over, pull through all loops. For the last stitch, we can insert our hook behind the front and back vertical bars, yarn over, pull through all loops, and fasten off by cutting the yarn, leaving about 6 inches of tail so we can sew through. Then we'll yarn over and pull the tail through to fasten off our work. We'll sew the ends together using a mattress stitch. Let's lay out the work so that the right sides face out, and we will align our seams. We can use stitch markers to help us keep our stitches aligned, and we can line them up using the vertical bars of our stitches. I've put stitch markers through every other stitch, and I've threaded my long tail to prepare for the mattress stitch. I'm going to sew along the back loops. Starting on the left, I'm going to thread the needle from back to front along the back loop of the left stitch, and then I'm going to go to the right stitch and do the same. Thread my needle from back to front behind the back loop. And I'll repeat those steps, going back to front along the back loop only of the left side, and back to front along the back loop only along the right stitch. Back to front along the back loop only of the left side, back to front along the back loop only on the right side. Continuing up my work, once we finish sewing together the seam, we can hide the tail by weaving it along the top of the piece for a few stitches, and then we'll cut the tail. You should have one more tail to weave in. You can thread the tail of the other end, and then we can just hide the tail along the seam. Go underneath the vertical bar, going along the edge of the seam. and even back the other way to hide the tail. Coffee Koozie will be ready to try on once you've sewn on loose ends. Leave a comment below and let me know how they turn out.